Hey, how y'all doing? Back again with another episode of the It Factor Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jeremy Robinson, and today we have someone special. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Valerie. Nice to meet everybody.
Valerie, so how you doing mentally, physically, and emotionally on this wonderful Tuesday?
I'm doing great. I'm blessed. I have nothing to complain about. I'm happy, I'm healthy. I'm here, I'm alive, so I feel great.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm glad you're doing good. I love that question because a lot of people go through that out time and don't get asked it. And,
Aw.
hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
It
I
ends up being
start a
like a
whole show
therapy
and you don't
session
know.
almost.
Right. Right. So I'll say, what was it like growing up in Boston, Massachusetts, surrounded by the championship culture with the Celtics, the Bruins, and the New England Patriots, and so much more? You know, y'all city eye is cool. I went to school there for a little while at Northeastern, so I know a
Really?
little. I know a little something. Yeah.
Yeah, so you see me with my Patriots hat representing. But it was cool. My generation, at least, we got the best of it. I'm 28. So for me, it was elementary, middle school, high school, even into college. There was always a team winning. So it was like it was like we knew the parade was coming. You knew you wasn't going to school, just had to be ready to go because you're going to the parade. So it was such a fun time, like growing up and like seeing all of those like championships, like just being around it and like also coming from Boston, like we're a college city as well too, even though our, college teams aren't the best. They're not like, they're not like a Villanova or
Right.
LSU, but like athleticism, like sports in general is just like a big culture here and stuff like that. We call ourselves Title Town, and I think some other people do too, but it's okay if others don't. But we call ourselves Title Town, and so sports for us, it's like in our blood. Like,
Yeah, it's big. I ain't gonna. I can't even say. I know before we started, I was joking, but to be honest with y'all really win like a lot. And also outside of that, I don't see the Celtics losing no time soon. Like not going to the championship or being right there because the
yeah,
Celtics is like one of the greatest teams right now in
yeah.
the NBA, and also the NBA is
Banners
it's
with
a
the
whole
most
nother thing.
banners.
Right, some slight. So I'll say, did that make you say, hey, you know what, I wanna major in mass media and go that route for a field?
Um, yes and no.
Okay.
Like I can explain a little bit more, but like I'm somebody who's like super extroverted. Like that's who I was. Like that's who I am even in my family. Like I'm a yapper. Like I've always been like more of a social butterfly. So like growing up, I always knew I was gonna do something in relation to like media or like talking or interacting or something creative. And like this is kind of where I found like where I thrived a lot. I once I got like into my adulthood years and like just even like teenagehood, I wasn't sure if I wanted to be in sports. Like that wasn't like a major direction for me. I knew media was definitely it, but I just didn't know in what particular kind of like whatchamacallit, like kind of like what space I was gonna be in. But I ended up falling into sports and I'm so happy about that, especially coming from like a big sports city and like me myself, I played sports when I was younger, and just following sports and stuff like that. And it just worked out that, something that I actually love and like even a field that I like to be in, I'm able to work in. Just very blessed to be in the position that I'm in.
That's cool. That's cool, and that's amazing. I'll say. With that, what's your it factor then? Why do you do what you do?
Why do I do what I do? A lot of reasons why. One being, like I said, it's just a passion for me. Like, again, very blessed to be able to do something I love. Like, not everybody, gets to be in a career field that they love. And I happen to be in that. Like I said, I grew up in a sports culture, like being from the city. So that was definitely like a driving force. I'm a very more of like a creative person. I was not somebody who like thrived in like math or like science or anything like that. That was like my backup plan. I was like, well, if I don't make it in media, I guess I'll go into like medical, but like that's my backup
Yeah,
plan.
it's like that. I ain't.
Yeah, but I always just like more of the creative side of things where I could like talk and like it was just my because it's more of my passion
Mhm.
and something that I really like to do is like what I fell in love with. I loved like just communicating with others, telling stories. Like storytelling is huge for me. Like I thrived like in English and history and all of that stuff when I was younger. And I just found myself like really just like I don't know, connecting with people a lot in that way. And so it kind of drove me to like do what I do now. Like I love, sitting in on meetings and like talking to clients and like talking to my coworkers and doing whatever I need to do creatively, starting my own things at work that, yeah, it just kind of helps with my drive every day.
Now that's dope. That dope. And that leads to my next question. So like how you go and work for CBS Boston, how was that time like working for them? But also like what did you learn from there that like you took on to go work where you work now? The athletic. How do you like, okay, I got some stuff I wanna go ahead and
Yeah.
take care of it too.
Yeah, I will say CBS Boston was like a huge part of like my career, like my character building, like both professionally and personally. It was my first job out of college. Like I was lucky. I graduated 29 May 2019. I was looking for jobs all summer. I was my old summer job was I was a summer nanny. That was my thing. I would come home from school, would nanny these families that I knew for like 4 years. That summer I was like, okay, like I'll obviously nanny, but like I really got to put a pep in my step to like find a job. And then I ended up with my first role being at CBS, which lucky, like that doesn't come around to everybody. And I was like,
Right.
whoa, crazy. Yeah. So my first role ended up being a sales assistant. So it's more on the advertising side of things, which is kind of where I sit now, even at the Athletic. So it
Mhm.
was kind of like my first real look into the media space and the media world on a professional basis. And so from there, I was able to move into more of a marketing role at some point. I was there for 4.5 years. So there was a lot of things I learned, like, just kind of being in the space, how media works, like a lot of the background works. I think when people think media, they think only journalists and producers, maybe like photographers or something like that. But there's like all these other types of roles that are just as important in media, and that was kind of like my first introduction to that, and like it also helped me figure out where I wanted to go because I still was kind of in the space when I graduated of being like I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to be in media. I didn't know if I wanted to be more on the journalistic side. I didn't know if I wanted to be more on the marketing and advertising side. So just kind of working there and having like that entry level job, it kind of helped me figure out because I saw a little bit of everything. Like, like I went into my job, but I was able to walk down to the newsroom and interact with the journalists and see what they do day to day and get that a lot of that FaceTime and that understanding. And it kind of helped shape a lot of what I wanted to do and help kind of like that process. So yeah, I'm very grateful for my time at CBS. I learned so much. Like they even helped me with school. I ended up getting my master's while I was there. So I have like no debt from grad school because they helped out. Yes, I know. I was like, thank God. So yeah, like I'm very grateful. They were a huge stepping stone into like where I'm at now and where I'm gonna be. So I'm always gonna be grateful like for my time there.
Indeed, indeed. So how is it working for the athletic? That's a dope name too, by the way. I like
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's a really cool time right now to work for the Athletic. So a lot of people that I know a few people that have worked for the Athletic before, and they worked for the Athletic pre-acquisition. So I don't know if you know this, but the Athletic is now a New York Times owned company. New York Times bought them, I want to say maybe like 2 years ago. So I came up obviously after the acquisition. So from what I heard, things have changed and stuff like that. So we're in a space now, like change doesn't happen overnight, obviously. So when I came in, it was like a lot of like processes that are going to be started, being put in place and all that stuff. And it's cool. Like it's a really great time to be here because I was just at CBS, which was like a more established company. So it's kind of just like reinventing the wheels with a lot of the things that we're doing, which is nice. And you have the backing of like a lot of like people and just like you have more access to things, I guess you would say, because it is a legacy company versus like a smaller company that might not. But at the same time, though, there's not really room for creativity as much in a bigger company like that versus the athletic, which I love. And I feel like in the like where I'm at in my career right now, my head is like always spinning with like new ideas, new things, like see where we can be challenged. And I think that's like a perfect place for me to be right now with the athletic being so new and they're so not new, but like I guess establishing themselves a little bit more in the media space, especially the sports media space. Like there's so much room for creativity. There's so much room for new things. There's so much room for new projects, new ideas. And I just love being here because every day is something different. There's not one thing that's not.
I love that. I love that. I say, who are you outside of all you are known for?
Me. Wow. That's a lot. That's a big question. Um, I like to say that I am, and I thrive to be this person every day of like being a woman that's multi-faced. That is like who I think I am every day. Like I'm a career woman, I'm a family woman, I'm a girl's girl, I am whoever I want to be, but I feel like oftentimes people like to put themselves in one box and one box only. And I don't like to do that. I want to be somebody that can, just do dabble in a lot of things,
Right.
and kind of just be somebody who's like very well-rounded. So I like to call myself like a multi-faced person. Somebody who just thrives for the best and just tries to do as much as they could.
I love that. I love that. You're a great person. So far from some from having a show. I'm like, all right, cool. You good with me. You good with me. Minus the Patriots hat, but hey, you good with me. Let me stop. But
That's always where people draw the line is when it comes to the sports part. They're like, "Ooh, you a Boston sports fan?" And I'm like, through and
but
through.
you from there though, so you get a pass. You good. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll say in today's challenging times, how vital is it to have like Black resource groups and different things of that nature? I see that you had that in your bio, and I said, let me speak on it because everything crazy stuff going on out
Yeah.
there. Just how important is it to have a resource group like that?
Yeah, so this is my first year leading my Black resource group here at the Athletic, which I'm so happy to be in this position. I'm somebody, like I said, I'm somebody that likes to do a lot. So you're never gonna find me like not doing anything extra. Like when I was in college, I was doing all the other extracurriculars. I was doing a lot of things that I'm doing now, even in college. Like I was on my Black Student Union board, like I ran it, I did all of that. So coming and doing this in a professional setting, like I was like, oh my God, I have to do this. Like I'm really happy to do this, especially during a time like this. Um, it's a challenging time, it's a hard time, but it's needed. I'm always going to advocate for diversity. I'm always going to advocate for, these people who aren't seen, people who need resources, people who need their voices heard. Like I'm not somebody that's going to stand down. But I also like am very clear on like, I guess you could say certain boundaries because
Mhm.
like I'm not going to do too much where it's like I'm going to infringe on people or kind of put them at risk, but enough to be like, hey, this is actually really important. And especially when you work in sports, I feel like it's super important to have groups like this because majority of the sports leagues, or not majority, a lot of the sports leagues are like very diverse.
Yeah.
You have leagues like the NFL and NBA where it's like 80% Black.
Uh-huh.
Like you have people who are international. You have people who, overcome certain disabilities that they might not, talk about every day. And it's like to not have resource groups supporting them is just kind of crazy for me. So it's like we need these, especially in companies, that focus on sports or focus on, I don't know, a lot of these topics intersect. So I just think it's important to have them. And that's why, like, for me, it was important to kind of be involved and like lead that charge.
Hey, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'll say like also, what are some cool projects you should work on? See, you said you love your passion projects. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you work on some cool stuff. What are some things that you like? I can't believe I worked on it, or something
Yeah.
you're like, dang, I really did that.
Yeah. I think I would say my most recent, which is like different, but like not different in a sense. So this was, I want to say, leading into summer 2023. My friends that are artists, like that's what they do, like they make music. They were like, we want to do a concert. And like it was kind of one of those things where it's like you have a conversation about it, and then we were like, let's actually kind of like do it. And
Uh-huh.
it's like we built like a whole team, and like my area of focus was like the organizational aspect of it and a lot of the brand partnerships, which is a lot of things that I do now. And, for them, they were figuring out like, okay, who's going to go up? Like, who are we gonna, have as part of the concert and all this stuff. And it was like one of the first like Afrocentric like concerts in Boston. And it was a lot of like local artists and stuff like that. And when we were putting everything together and we were doing outreach, we were doing like, research on venues and stuff like that. We were pulling people in that we needed to. We were like, oh, it's gonna be like a calm, like 20, 30 people. We ended up having like
Everybody.
200 plus people. We were like, whoa. So it was like one of my coolest projects because it wasn't something work related, but I was still able to use a lot of my skills, and a lot of the things that I like to do on like a passion project. And it was just fun doing it with my friends as well too, because it was something that we really worked on for like months. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Uh, so it was really something like I'm proud of. I'm proud that we did and like pulled it off and like had great results and stuff like that.
It's amazing. That's amazing. It sounds fun. So y'all had
Yeah, good
everybody.
time.
So, like, what's your, I would say, dream job or dream project or both that you would love to do someday?
Um, that's tough. That's tough. That's
So,
tough.
people
I
ask
want,
me all the time, so I got to ask other people. I'll be like,
I know, because I feel like I want to do everything. That's my thing. I want to do everything. I guess I could say like my dream project would probably work on an event, like work on like more like an activation type of event.
Mhm.
So like for example, here in Boston, this girl that I'm familiar with, she was leading like this really big activation for one of the first WNBA games at the garden like right before, so
Yeah.
it's like it was like this whole big event that was like right before the game, so a lot of the locals came down, people who were just kind of going to see the game, like they were able to like play some games, like meet some people. It was just like this whole big thing and I love doing stuff like that, community oriented things like that. So I think that would be like a dream project for me to work on in some sort. It might not be exactly that, but just kind of putting on an event, especially for like the community. That's something that I think would be really like good for me and something that I would really want to do.
I can't wait till it happens. It's gonna be dope. And I only got a few more questions. I
Yeah.
said, when it's all said and done, what would you like to be remembered for?
Ooh. I would say for me, like I always say this, my legacy is like important. So I want to be remembered for like my impact that I make. Especially like my impact in the media space in general. There's not a lot of us. And to be honest, like I'm a double minority. Not only am I a woman, but I'm a Black woman. There's not a lot of us, especially in sports. So for me, like I would want to be remembered for my impact or things that I've done. So that's why like every single day for me, I'm not giving my 100%. I'm giving my 101% every single day to like make sure like, when my time is up here, like I made some type of impact, like I made some type of mark, a dent or something
Mhm.
in a positive way that like people are like, wow, like she really did do that, or just to kind of like motivate people and stuff like that. Like my parents are immigrants, they're not from here. So it's like I had to work hard my entire life. Not saying that nobody else has, but like most stories of children of immigrants, like we have to work like almost triple times harder. And so for me, like I just want to make sure like my impact is a reflection of like, them coming here and setting us up and then me making sure like I did everything that I need to do, but also like making sure everybody after me can see that too and be like, wow, like I come from the same type of story that she did, and she did it really well and she did it successfully. And I want to do that too.
You're already doing that. I know you got legacy already behind. That's how you usually. That's how usually Jake. I mean, that's how usually people get introduced to me, or I'll be like,
Yeah.
"I'm on the show, da da da," because I love what they're doing, and then I have to go research and be like, "Wow, they do a lot more than one." Okay, cool, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So definitely proud of what you're doing and the impact
Yeah.
you're making. So
Thank-
with that being said, um, what some advice would you give to a young lady or a young man that would love to be in your shoes someday?
Um, I would say do what makes you happy. Like I feel especially during times like this, like do what makes you happy. I would say don't say no, like say yes. I think a lot of people harp on like I have to get to my dream job as soon as I graduate. And it's like, I tell people all the time, I was like, the only reason why I got to where I'm at now is I started in the most entry level, basic job in my like I was still in my field. It's about being present. That's also a big thing is being present. Like, I was a sales assistant at CBS. That's where I started and I was able to kind of maneuver just because I was literally in the presence. And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, you could literally be front desk at a company you want to work for. All you got to do is make sure you talk to the people, build relations, be present, and you can maneuver. So that's like my best advice is just like being present. Don't harp on things too much. Everything's gonna fall in place. And just be happy doing what you want to do.
Indeed. And what brings you true happiness and peace?
What brings me happiness and peace? Money. I'm kidding. I mean that is true, but I don't know. Not much things make me like not happy. Like I just seeing other people happy, like especially like my family and friends, like I think that's my biggest thing is like just seeing them happy, especially if it's something that I did or like something that I was a part of, like that, you know, really like also drives me as well too.
That's dope. That's dope. I love that. Do you have any questions for me?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I went and worked out.
Yeah.
Did work, so that was cool. I made it back in time to record a video. I try to do this time lapse thing while I'm setting up and stuff. So I've been
Yeah.
trying to do that. But if all that went good, I'm good. My wife happy, so I'm good. Cool.
Yes, we love that. Yeah,
I did good. Had a good day, man. Good Tuesday. Good Tuesday.
we love that. We love
For
that.
asking. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time.
Yeah.
I do have one ask.
Okay.
I do my due diligence of seeing who you may know or different things like that. I want to know, do you know Jordan Barber?
Jordan Belfort. Yes. Or I don't like know him too well, but it's one of those things where like everyone kind of in the industry.
Yeah. It's somebody I've been trying to get in touch with, man, so I can work with him. So I can work with Shannon Sharp. I've been trying to like it's been a whole year's worth of time, boy. But nah, definitely. If you ever run into him or anything like that, definitely tell him I want him to come.
Okay.
But no, also, this podcast will be coming out soon.
Okay.
I'm gonna cut up some snippets and different things like that. But like, if you ever need anything, definitely reach out.
I
I
will.
enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been good. It's been fun.
No problem. So, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.